Welcome to Orioles on the Verge. This is Zach Spedden, joined as always by Bob Phil and Nick Stevens. And we are coming to you live during the first round of the 2025 MLB Draft. The Texas Rangers just made the 12th overall pick in this draft, selecting high school shortstop Gavin Fine, who MLB Pipeline, in their most recent mock draft, had falling to the Orioles down at number 19. So a little bit of intrigue as we get further into the first round. We have had some surprises to this point in the draft, starting off with Eli Willits going first overall to the Nationals. And Nick, you've kind of been leading our draft coverage throughout this spring and into the summer. So I will start with you here. What are your thoughts on how the draft has unfolded so far?
I like it so far. I think we're going to have some pretty fun options here at 19. I'm waiting. I know everybody is clenching harder and harder as pick by pick goes by and Jason Laviolette stays on the board. I'm sure we'll probably end up talking about him a lot.
Let's go Red Sox. Do it in front of us.
I don't know. I loved Tyler Bremner, and I would not have been mad at all if he would have been a pick at 19 or fallen even more. But kudos to the Angels. I won't make he's going to make his MLB debut in 2 weeks joke. I hope they actually take their time with Bremner and develop him properly. I mean, Cade Anderson, the Mariners get another stud pitcher here. Ethan Holiday to the Rockies. Duh. Yeah, I think the Pirates nailed it with Seth Hernandez. I like the Blue Jays pick of JoJo Parker. We're seeing this run of high school picks. And I'm glad Liam Doyle went to the Cardinals, so I don't really have to hear about him probably ever again. I'm not Liam Doyle. I love his attitude and his persona. It is 80 grade top notch. I need more of that, but just not a fan of his game on the mound. So don't have to worry about that one anymore. Only a couple more picks here. I'm getting more and more anxious.
Yeah, I'm just having flashbacks now to last year's draft when it was like, oh my gosh, the guys we won are still there, and then boom, 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 gone. And what are the Orioles going to do? They're obviously going to take Vance Honeycutt. Yep, they took him. So yeah, it's exciting. It's anxiety ridden, but it's been pretty chaotic, and I guess that was meant to be when it was like no clear cut number one this year and a lot of depth, which hopefully we'll take advantage of. But yeah. We're here. We got a lot of money to play with. 4 high picks coming right up. I'm excited.
So, Nick, I want to go back to you because I think it was way back in January. You predicted that Ethan Holiday would not be the 1-1 pick. And I think it was like one of our bold prediction segments. And now you're correct. So how do you feel?
That was a complete guess. I don't know. I just don't. Ethan Holiday is fine. I just feel like there's a lot more upside fun talent in this draft as well. I just felt like MLB Pipeline seemed to be the only outlet that kept Holiday 1-1, even at the start of the year when like Jace Laviolette was the consensus 1-1 there for a while. And I felt like that was just more so for clicks. Kudos to him. He's going to hit. I hope he gets to the big leagues and hits 40 bombs. But yeah, just never saw him going to the Angels or the Nationals there 1-1. Brad Selig's there, of course, but when they had all their firings, the coach, the GM, and everything right before the draft, I feel like even though Brad Selig's still there, not to get into the politics of the Nationals war room, but like something else crazy is bound to happen here at this pick. And I love that they went Eli Willits there 1-1. That's a lot of fun. But yeah, I'm glad Holiday went to the Rockies. They can have that storyline. It can be fun over there. Go hit bombs over there on the West Coast. Good for him.
Yeah, I think a lot of the speculation with the Nationals at 1-1 was they were going to take Cade Anderson because of the firing and maybe ownership wants the immediate returns on this rebuild to speed up. But no, I think it was a good pick that they went with Willits there. I think he's a really talented guy from all the reports I've read. And yeah, I love that Ethan Holiday goes to the Rockies. I think that's good for him. I think that's a great atmosphere for his power. I think he's going to hit a ton of home runs between him and Condon the last couple of years. That's going to be pretty good. I doubt the Rockies will support them in any way, but that'll be fun for a little while. Also would have been cool to see Ethan Holiday just have the Beltway battle eventually, a little more meaningful, but whatever. It's obviously the biggest rivalry in sports without him. So,
and I'll say the Nationals, obviously we don't know what they're going to do with all the front office stuff, but if Selick still has like major control over this whole process, you saw what he did in Baltimore. We're big fans. I think a lot of people would be like, if he's going to get the boot in DC and the Orioles want to bring him back in some sort of role, I think a lot of people would be okay with that. I think the Nationals, though, could be a dangerous team here for the rest of the draft because they're not paying Eli Willits. His slot value is $11.08 million. He ain't getting anywhere near that. So Nationals could be a team to watch with these later picks.
Yeah, completely agree. And, we don't know what role Mike Rizzo's departure is going to play in this. Maybe this was going to be the 1-1 pick overall, and the Nationals decided to cut bait from Rizzo when they could. But they do have a lot of money to work with further down the draft, which brings me to what I think is the big story of the night, which is that after the Brian Baker trade, the Orioles have the largest bonus pool in this draft. And in fact, the largest bonus pool since the current slot system started back in 2012. So there's a lot of money to play with here. And is there a possibility, as you see the draft board unfolding as it is, that the Orioles might be able to go pretty heavy on the signing bonuses, at least with one of the first two picks?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like you said, we have by far the highest slot, the most ever. And we have our first pick is number 19. That's insane. That's like, and it should have been more. If we remember back to the Rookie of the Year voting, should have been 8 in the first day of play here, or 5 in the first round, whatever. Sorry, Colton Cowser. Luis Hill's back, and apparently he's throwing gas. He's a monster or whatever. Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun time. I guarantee that I'm not into specifics just because I'm kind of trying to follow what's going on while we do this, but I'm sure there's a guy that already we are trying to coax him down, trying to float him down to 19 or 30, 31, what have you. A lot of these high school shortstops are getting taken, but there's still plenty where they came from. It's a very deep high school class this year. And my dream pick, Aloy, is still out there, as is Merrick Houston. He's a guy that's dropping, apparently. Ethan Conrad, still so many possibilities as we are, like 6 picks away now?
Yeah, this is shaping out to be a repeat of last year. Let's just go ahead and prepare ourselves. Let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, you're trying to see here. If we're gonna throw out like specific names too, like you could even see like an Ike Irish here from Auburn. Looking at him, he's still available. You could go Ike Irish if he falls down here to pick 19. I wouldn't hate that at all either. He's not going to be a catcher. Like if you're drafting Ike Irish, you're going to draft him to be an outfielder, and he's an unbelievable hitter. Yeah. So I would like that pick, but I feel like that's even that could be a bit of a haircut, even falling down to 19. It's what's the slot value for this one? $4.42 million. Daniel Pierce to the Rays. You know they're going to do something weird. High school shortstop. That's another one. Rays. All right, here we go. But yeah, like I wouldn't even mind at pick 19 if you go a little bit more of a haircut here. It's like you could just rake 30, 31, 37. Those picks, the damage that the Orioles could do with those picks. But yeah, having that extra pick and that extra money, it's why when we did the mailbag last week, somebody asked what was our dream scenario start and what was our kind of nightmare start. And I said for the nightmare, the only thing I really didn't like was seeing Luke Stevenson, the UNC catcher, mocked to the Orioles. Fantastic catcher, young. I think he's a draft eligible sophomore, but he's at least like still only 20 years old. Good power, but questionable hit tool. And it's not even just the questionable hit tool part. It's just the fact that I could give you 3 college catchers right here that you could get in rounds like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 that could give you good power, good defense. Like it could be assets to this organization. You don't need to use that first round pick on a catcher. But honestly, having these extra picks and that extra money, if you're high on Stevenson, screw it. At this point, I'll even take that, to be completely honest. But it's just the prime example, since Aloy, I know we all like Aloy. A lot of people want the pick to be Aloy. This is a prime example to show you how the Orioles are perfectly positioned in this class with 19, 30, 31, 37, and all these early picks. Iva Arquette went number 7 to the Marlins. And he was projected to go, I mean, as high as 3 to the Mariners. There was lots of talk of him going 3 to the Mariners. But slot value for Ava Arquette is $7.15 million. All right, the Orioles could realistically get Wahiva Aloy here at 19 And they both have big ceilings, big power, good fielding, good defense, good arms, all that stuff. Questions about the hit tool. And even I was listening to a Mariners podcast and Joe Doyle was on, and Joe even said, like, quote about Ava Arquette, I don't know if he's going to be able to hit at the major league level. And you're talking about the Mariners taking him at pick 3, the Marlins getting him at pick 7 here at 7.15 million slot value. If the Orioles could get Aloy at $4 million at the back end of the first round, like, I think that's just a really good example to show you that the depth in this class and where it's concentrated, where the Orioles have all their picks, it's beautiful. And it's what has me so excited about. I just want this to be over at this point because I want to see what these picks are, because again, the damage that this organization could do in refilling this farm system, stocking up not just for the future, but for trades in the near future as well. Like, this could be huge. I don't think, Mike Elias says lots of things, right? But him saying like they've got to hit this draft, they want to maximize each pick. They've got real potential here to make a lot of noise.
Yeah, we're 4 picks away, so I'm starting to get a little nervous here. But here's what Baseball America has as the best available players left. We have ranked number 7, Kyson Witherspoon, right-handed pitcher. Could you imagine the reaction of Birdland if they actually took a pitcher with their first pick? And I think they could, given that it's less risk when you have 3 more picks right around the corner. Another high school shortstop, Kason Cunningham. I know he was one of the ones that could have gone very early. Merrick Houston, Aloy, like we talked about, Ike Irish, Jace Laviolette. And then you kind of go down to like the Ethan Conrad, Brennan Summerhill, Xavier Nyans, Gage Wood. But I would not be surprised if the Orioles get at least 2 of the names I just listed in the next few picks. And let's hope it happens. Red Sox are next. So this is where I'm hoping Jace Laviolette goes just to get him off the board.
So I want to talk about Xavier Nyans for a moment, because MLB Pipeline in their mock draft, their most recent mock draft, Jonathan Mayo had him falling to the Orioles at number 30. So is there a possibility that if Nyans is still there at 19, but there's other players available, that the Orioles don't draft Nyans and that they hope he falls down to number 30, presumably because of signing bonus concerns? Because I think the talent is clearly there for him to be a first-round pick. But if teams are concerned that it's going to take him a lot of money to go away from his college commitment, that could be what causes him to fall here.
Yeah, and it's like, well, I feel like at this point, if they don't take him, they either know that they can get him, like they've already made an agreement. There's so many back behind the scenes deals and offers and everything flying behind the scenes right now. I feel like they'll either know, okay, if we don't take him now, then he's going to have a better offer somewhere else, or we have this agreement in place that we could float him down here. Like, I feel like they will already know by then, but I think right now they're probably trying to cement whatever their plan is for the next at least 2 or 3 picks, if not 4.
Yeah, I don't think pick 19 is going to be a high school guy, because with all this extra money, I do think it's that float the guy down thing that's been the big buzzy phrase, right, with the Orioles this year. It's no longer underslot. It's float them down, which is a lot more fun to talk about than the 1-1 underslot as the Red Sox pick here. Kyson Witherspoon to the Red Sox. All right. But yeah, I think this is going to be where you get. Personally, I would go the college bat here at pick 19. Maybe it's a bit of an underslot. You can save a little bit more money even here at 19, but go Ethan Conrad. If you're like him, just go ahead and take him now at pick 19. Brendan Summerhill from Arizona is a guy that I love, and he's still sitting here available, although I could see him going here to the Twins. It feels twinsy to me.
It does.
I won't mention any other college names right now, but until it happens. But you go the college pick here at 19, and then that's when you float the high school guys down. Now you're like, don't take the 4 million. We'll give you the 4.5 million, or we'll give you 5 million at pick 30 or 31. And the Orioles have the ability to do that, and other teams do not right now. So I think 19 is where we're going to see college, and they could even go high school at 30 and 31. They could buy 2 guys down and nail them then. And then, like, if it's a college guy who a lot of people aren't as excited about, to round that out with 2 high upside high school picks at 30 and 31, I think you got to be feeling pretty good after those first 3 picks, if that's how this shakes out here in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, I completely agree that it'll most likely be college first. Like Kason Cunningham being available right here kind of tells me maybe he's one of the ones they're trying to float down to 30, 31.
Yeah.
Maybe him and Nyans or him and Hammond, whoever. But yeah, I mean, Merrick Houston is who I officially put as my prediction for the pick on Patreon exclusive Vivek Shukla's prediction sheet, and he's still available. So we'll see. But yeah, I think even if it's Jace Laviolette, don't give up, Orioles fans. It could just mean that they're getting a guy they like the upside of. You know, I doubt they're going to take the exact profile of a Vance Honeycutt 2 years in a row. He's a different player, obviously, but he's got good power. But if they can get him for under slot deal and float 2 really high upside high school guys down, like Nick said, I mean, that'll be pretty good. That'll be fun.
As we talk about, I kind of hope that Ethan Conrad is the 19th pick, because that's a guy I really want in this system, because he possesses a lot of the traits that I know the Orioles like in college hitters, but he seems to have a higher floor than a lot of the guys that the Orioles have taken a chance on in recent years. So if they're going to cut a deal at 19, I kind of hope that it's with Conrad.
I wouldn't hate that at all. The Merrick Houston one is really interesting. I really liked him early on in this process, and he has fallen, but I think it's because the question mark seems to be the power, and I think some people seem to be mixed on, is the power real or not? Because, you're hitting at Wake Forest, and Wake Forest, I think they call it the couch as the nickname there. Like it's very home run friendly. It's short porch out there in right field, I think. It's kind of mixed reviews on Houston, and I just get the vibes that if it's Merrick Houston, you're getting one of the top shortstop defenders in this draft class, and you're getting a guy with a really good hit tool. I think that's one of his, that might be like his carrying tool other than the fielding. And this is a guy who I think if the Orioles Houston is available and the Orioles take him, I think they think that the power is going to be there as well. So maybe you can get a little bit more. If it's Merrick Houston, it's Merrick Houston is what I think a lot of people was hoping Griff O'Farrell would be, but never will become. Merrick Houston has got a really solid baseline, I think. So that could be an interesting one as well. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so I want to go back to that. What is the difference in your mind between Houston and O'Farrell?
I think it's just the power. Like he's gained, I think it was like 15 or so pounds of muscle, 10 or 15 pounds of muscle he gained coming into this year. And the exit velos are already getting closer to like 110, I think was his max EV. It's like 107, 108, but it's creeping up. It's trending up. I just think there is actual power potential there. Like Merrick Houston very well could be 15 plus home runs a year for you while giving you like really, really good defense at shortstop. He's not a guy that I think is going to move around. I think he's going to stick, give you 15 plus home runs. Griff O'Farrell is never, ever going to give you that. And Merrick Houston goes to the Twins. So,
yeah, of course.
okay.
I'm
Never
okay
mind.
with that. I'm okay with that.
We don't have to talk about that anymore. So
yep. Once you started comparing him to Griff O'Farrell, I started to get a little nervous on that one. No,
there's vibes there.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's going to the Twins.
I listened to Baseball Prospectus Future Projection podcast. They did a big draft preview today. It was good stuff. Shout out to them. But as you would expect, nothing less Ben Badler, Carlos Collazo. But they were saying they just thought Ethan Conrad was a better pick, a better player than Merrick Houston, and he's projected to go much later. So 2 picks away now. Cubs are on the clock.
I'm trying to look. I don't have like a full-on board here. That's next year's goals, to have my own board. But I mean, if you're looking at who's left and who it could be, other than Aloy, we'll take Aloy out of the picture. I don't see on the hitting side, I don't see anyone else that the college hitting side outside of Aloy. I don't know if I see anyone who, like, the gap between who they are now and what their ceiling is. I don't see anyone's gap being bigger than Ethan Conrad's, to be honest, which is super exciting because he missed pretty much all year with that shoulder injury. I think it was a diving play in the outfield, hurt the shoulder. They thought he'd be able to come back by the end of the year. He didn't. I believe he had surgery to fix it. So at least he got that done, and he can start fresh If it's Conrad, I don't know how much we'd see him this year on the field, if at all. If he's still recovering and rehabbing, it might just be let's start fresh next year and keep him down in Sarasota all winter. But I mean, if it's Conrad, man, and I think it was Joe Doyle even on another podcast where he was talking about apparently the shoulder injury was already bothering him beforehand, before he fell. So if
And
that's
he was
the
killing the
case,
ball. So what's
yeah,
he gonna?
yeah, exactly. If that's the case, then what can he do when he is fully healthy and that shoulder's not bothering him anymore? So I just think if you like him, you don't even wait. Pull the trigger at 19 and take him.
Yeah, I agree.
So I will say we're 2 picks away. We're basically a pick away from Arizona because the pick is in with the Cubs apparently. But Jace Laviolette hitting at Chase Field would be a lot of fun. And the Diamondbacks took Corbin Burns off our hands before he had to have Tommy John surgery. So I think they do us another solid right here.
That would be a stark departure from the typical early on outfielders they take, who I'm typically in love with. I'd be down. Everyone's here though. This truly is. Everyone I would want is here and available. Only 2 more picks to go here.
Seems familiar, to be honest.
Now, I will say that if it is Eloy, we had this discussion in our last episode about who your dream pick would be 1-1. I took Nyens. But at the time, the Orioles did not have the 37th pick in the draft. They didn't have the bonus money to take. So if Eloy is the pick here, I would not be upset, especially if there's a possibility to get Nyens at the number 30 pick. I still like Nyens' profile better as a high school prospect who could stick on the left side of the infield, and if he doesn't, projects as a corner outfielder with a lot of power. But Eloy could be a good pick here if they can get Nyens at 30 or 31.
Yeah, I love Nyens. Kason Cunningham I would love Kason Cunningham as well. Looking at some other high school guys like Josh Hammond. I know there's been a lot of Josh Hammond love.
He's got some helium.
Yeah, would not mind that either. Trying to say that's probably the first round. Like,
I feel like there was another high school name that was getting a lot of. I mean, Sean Gamble is a name that I heard a lot. And where's the one? It's not very high on Baseball America's rankings, but I kept hearing that here it is, Tatum Gray.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he was a guy that's really rising up the ranks late.
We can get weird and go Slater DeBrune.
Yeah, what's his rap name?
I saw that article this morning. I don't know. I've seen all the reports. If you read about him, all the reports say dude is a character off the field.
I like characters
in a very good way. Yeah, Dax Kilby, that'd be a good one. I think Sean Gamble in doing
here it is, Lil Slay. I love that.
I mean, he is what 5'8", 5'9". He's a short guy, a short ball of energy. I think Sean Gamble I really hammered a lot of the high school stuff this morning in preparation because that's my weak spot here with the draft coverage. Just so much time watching and preparing for the college side. The high school side is my weakness this year, but I think Sean Gamble could be one of the sleeper. Can we stop spoiling the picks?
Come on,
never mind.
Cubs. you spoiled the whole board here.
My
Ethan
TV
Conrad goes to the Cubs at 17.
My fault.
Good
I didn't mean
pick.
to yell. My TV. It was my TV's fault.
It could be our streams are a little bit behind.
No, my
That's
stream.
the problem with streamers. Oh, okay. This is how pent up we are. We're like, Ethan Conrad. Yeah. Well, May Summerhill is a pretty exciting outfielder as well from the college ranks. 1 pick away from him being available.
This means absolutely nothing. But it seemed like 75-80% of the time in playing around with the mock draft simulator, even just fun ones doing just to BS around because I'm bored. The Diamondbacks ruined my picks so many times. And anyone who I was like, I'm gonna go somewhere else and I'm gonna wait. I can get this guy later. Nope, the Brewers right after every single time picking my guy. So I'm waiting for the fun tool game to start emulating real life here with Arizona's pick.
Yeah, well, they could take Jace Laviolette, and I would love that.
He's
Just
going to
gonna
be
keep.
available.
Yeah, he's going to be available. What was it? Here's JJ Cooper on Blue Sky says that the Wake Forest outfielder is the first non-shortstop / pitcher to go in the 2025 draft. So, hey, that's something to put in your cap there, Ethan. First outfielder of the draft.
Good pick for the Cubs. Good for them.
Pick is in here for Arizona, so we'll see what happens. But the Orioles, after this pick, would be up. And as we've talked about, the board is falling in their favor, though we've had a few players picked within the last few selections that theoretically could have been on the Orioles board.
For sure. Yeah. I think, God, I wish we could just be plugged into the war room as this stuff happens and see the reactions of the people in the room.
Dude, I would sign whatever paperwork you need me to sign. You can sue me for everything I'm worth if I spill any beans. I just want that experience one time to sit in a war room. Here's the Diamondbacks. Case and Cunningham. So here we go.
are on the clock.
All right. So if it is Jace Laviolette, how are we going to settle the fight that's about to break out on Orioles social media after a really tense day already? I don't want to touch it. You guys kind of run our socials at this point, so
we got to do whatever it takes to get Kyle Stowers back on this team. Okay,
we're putting the look. I've been tweeting out drafts and doing this for 10 years. I love it dearly. Never love the first round though, because that's the one that everyone has big opinions about. We'll save it until we see what the pick is. But I mean, God, Ike Irish is sitting here. I would honestly love the Ike Irish pick. People are going to see catcher and freak out. Don't, please. Summerhill, I like a lot. Aloy is still there.
Well, and I like Irish too. And I would just point out to people who are going to freak out about catcher in the first round. This year has been a perfect reminder of why you need depth at catcher. The Orioles had a lot of depth coming into this season at catcher, and yet they burned through all of it. They've had to make multiple trades. And outside of Samuel Basayo and Creed Willems, perhaps, there's not a lot of high upside players at that position in the farm system right now. So if Ike Irish is going to be a catcher, that's not the worst possible outcome.
Yeah, it's interesting there too. I don't know what feed you guys are watching. I'm on, I hate to admit it, ESPN. Don't ask me why, but they have Ike Irish listed as a right fielder. So at least Kylie there has him listed as an outfielder first. No mention of catcher. Take that for what it's worth, though.
Probably a catcher the way Ethan Anderson is a catcher. Like, I mean, maybe he could do it, but you're not acquiring him because he's like a Adley Rutschman behind the plate, defensively, whatever you have coming into that draft. I would be pleasantly happy. There's a lot of very interesting names available at this pick here. So, can't say it's not like last year where the options dried up right in front of us. I mean, Aloy is the guy I want, but there's plenty of other good options. I could see Cam Canarella maybe taking a shave to get some high schooler guys later. Pick is in. So here we're close here to a potentially viral reaction to whatever happens.
So who wants to do the honors of announcing the pick when it comes in?
Let's let it be Nick. He's the one got the TV on. No spoilers.
You guys following the tracker?
I'm following the MLB Network feed.
I'm just on the MLB.com tracker. Yeah.
I got to see. Dude, I just love drafts, all of them. But like baseball specifically, it's just there's nothing like the MLB draft, man. It is.
It's so much more fun because it's quick. Like it's not 20 to 30 minutes between picks, and you're going to spend your whole night. Yeah.
And no one has any idea what's going to happen. I mean, look at this year. Like, yeah, everybody mock draft. Everybody's like, I hate mock drafts, but they get clicks out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Because people love actually mock drafts and seeing. And every draft, you're always like, within the first 5 picks, like, well, rip up the mock. It's done. This was after the first 2 picks. Here's the commissioner coming up. Ike Irish.
Good pick.
All right.
I like this pick.
All right.
Ike Irish, baby.
Let's go.
I like that pick a lot.
Let me get this tweet up.
Catcher. We have no catchers in this organization. Adley Rutschman's washed up.
All right. So before we fan any flames here on Orioles social media with the wars, what are your guys' thoughts about this pick right here? Because we've been talking about him as a player that could fall to the Orioles at number 19. He feels like a guy that could take a little bit of a cut here with this pick, and the Orioles would, in theory, have more money to work with as we get later into the first night of the draft. But I think this is a pretty good selection here.
Yeah, let me put out. This is the bad part about doing this live. Try to get all the tweets out here. All right, so I'm gonna pull out this first. So Ike Irish, catcher, outfielder out of Auburn, one of the more productive hitters in the entire country this spring. Here's some numbers. These numbers are all coming from Azad Earl's spreadsheet here. 114 mile per hour max EV, power hitter, 80% contact rate, 24% chase rate. While there is end zone whiff rate here, he makes contact versus velocity up in the zone and away from him, has been solid on breaking balls. The contact quality is an interesting case study because he has 60 grade power, but it's low launch angle. So it could be something that you build upon a little bit here. But Cape Cod League, max EV was 10 miles per hour lower than his max EV this spring. So he sent his max EV up 10 miles per hour from the Cape Cod League to spring ball here in college. Like, I don't know. I like this pick a lot, to be completely honest. Let me pull up his numbers here real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a Vance Honeycutt for any or a Jay Slaviolette for anybody worrying about the swing and miss of a hitter here. He's got power. It kind of reminds me of Jordan Westberg when he was drafted. He was exit velocity, but not the launch angle you would typically want. And they were able to, I feel like, get him to a range where he's a 20+ home run power potential guy if he's in the lineup every day. There's a bug in my office. Okay, at least it's not a bee. Yeah, I'm a fan of this pick a lot. Yeah, I think big upside, but also plenty of data to feel pretty confident in what they have here. Ike Irish. I like the name. It's an easy one. It's not. Maybe we can float Aloy down to 30. I doubt that, but now it gets very interesting because we're gonna see if the Orioles do take a pitcher in the next 3 picks or do take a high schooler. Did I buy you enough time, Nick?
No.
Right, so, yeah, as we talk about this, there are mixed scouting reports out there about Irish, where he's going to stick defensively long term. Is he going to stay behind the plate, or is he going to stick in the outfield because of the consensus, or is he going to end up in the outfield because the feeling is that the arm is good enough for an outfield corner, and that maybe the hit tool could be maximized out there a little bit, but at the same time, we know how difficult it is when you bring someone that can catch into the system to figure out how long you're going to try to develop them as a catcher. The Orioles are going through that right now with Ethan Anderson. He's catching every day at Aberdeen. He has struggled a little bit this year after not catching that much in Virginia. I think that Irish's profile is a little bit different than what Anderson's was coming into the system, but there are some doubts out there about whether or not he can stick behind the plate.
Yeah, and even, I mean, if he does, obviously that's valuable, great, but it's not why they drafted him. It's just part of his positional flexibility, which honestly, if you're looking at what the Orioles have focused on a little bit over the past couple drafts, it is that. I mean, we saw it with Ryan Stafford, can play all over Ethan Anderson. Yeah, so wherever you can get his bat in the lineup, it's going to be in there. It's going to hit.
That's a good point on both of those guys. He has a better hit tool coming into the system than Stafford or Anderson did.
And I'm just looking at Baseball Prospectus. They say he achieved a 364, 469 on base, 710 slugging in the Cape Cod by blending adequate contact and chase metrics with consistently tapping into his above average exit velocities, running a hard hit rate over 60%. So that's a good quote.
All right. My official thoughts here. I love this Ike Irish pick. Absolutely love it. This is a guy who's getting talked about as a potential pick at number 3 to the Mariners. He was catcher, and he's got questions behind the plate. I think like receiving and blocking specifically were two things that it had major question marks about. And the arm was the true weapon. The arm strength is not an issue, which is why he transitioned so well to the outfield. But it was the other skills behind the plate that needed some work. I think he got hurt this year, early on in the year, missed a little bit of time, comes back. There's the Brewers ruining our next pick with Andrew Fisher.
Yeah.
But he came back from his injury, and I don't think he was even fully back, but healthy enough to return to the field. But they didn't want him to catch. And so they put him out in right field. And dude was making, I can't remember which series I watched him. I think it was against Georgia. But dude's out there immediately off injury, making really great plays, showing off the speed out there in right field, making good plays at the wall, at the warning track, showed good awareness out there. He transitioned very well. He's got the cannon for an arm that's going to play well out there in right field. I think that's where you're going to see him out in right field. I don't know how much you're going to see him out in left field because, I mean, he's got catcher. He's like an athletic catcher speed. Baseball America has him 45 speed grade there. But yeah, I thought when you're talking about bats, like Ike Irish is one of the top college bats in this class. His numbers this year at Auburn, he had 19 home runs, 13 doubles, a 13% walk rate with a 14% strikeout rate. Hit 364, 152 WRC plus. Just fantastic year. I'm trying to see what he did on the Cape too, because I think he had a really good year on the Cape Cod League last summer as well. All my tabs. I'm trying to get this to load is not working. Yeah, Cape Cod League last year hit 325 on the Cape with an 871 OPS. 20 walks, 35 strikeouts, couple of home runs, but the bat to ball, the hit tool, it's there. And you look at the grades, Baseball America, 55 hit, 55 power, 65 arm. Yeah, solid pick here. It's not Chase Laviolette. We don't have to have that conversation.
Well, that's about where I was about. The point I was about to bring up here was that this is not a pick that is reflective of some recent criticism of the Orioles. This is not a Vance Honeycutt pick where you have to question the hit tool. And it feels like if you want to go back, although it's honestly comparing apples to oranges, if that, go back to Enrique Bradfield a couple of years ago. I think there's a lot more certainty about Irish's hit tool than there was about Bradfield's. So in that respect, it does kind of break the mold of the type of players that the Orioles have targeted with at least their last few first picks. I will bring this up, though, which is that what's the temptation here to develop him positionally? Because when you bring someone in who can catch, and they've caught at the college level, especially in a major program like Auburn, you want to try to keep them behind the plate. But everything in his profile suggests that if you stick him in right field, you let the arm strength do its thing, and the bat continues to develop, maybe he starts it for a little bit more power, that he could be a guy that moves quickly. So maybe this makes up for the fact that Ethan Conrad didn't fall to this pick. So do you stick Irish behind the plate for at least a little while to see if he can catch at the higher levels, or do you think about moving him to the outfield immediately?
Two things. First of all, to Bill Evans' comment there in the chat, so is the comp for Irish a more athletic Kyle Schwarber? I have seen others say that coming into the draft, that there is a Kyle Schwarber-esque comp here with Irish. And Enrique Bradfield Jr. just quote tweeted our tweet and said banger. So if you don't like the pick, you can take that up with Enrique Bradfield Jr. Himself. But my gut reaction here 5 minutes after the pick happened is, the Orioles are going to put him behind the plate a little bit. But honestly, my gut would say, don't put him behind the plate. Stick him in the outfield. Let that bat shine. Let the bat play. Let the arm play out there. And you can get him through the system probably fairly quickly. As long as he hits from the jump, yeah, I'm down with just bypassing the whole catcher thing and even removing that tag.
One thing I've seen in our Discord today was the good thing about drafting the hitters in this draft is they will never have to hit in Aberdeen unless they race there this season. So Frederick, it will be a much more friendly environment for these guys as they get there. Very pleasantly surprised with this pick, especially when I'm, expecting J-Slav Violette to be the pick all day long.
Yeah. Unclench, Birdland. You got a good one.
I just saw Phil Plantier's name come up on the closed caption here for MLB Network's feed, and I have no clue what context it is, but I absolutely love it. Let's just pick an obscure outfielder from the 90s Padres, and we're going to talk about him.
Don't look at the Astros pick. Not going to be happy.
Just saw it. Yep. Okay. It's Xavier Nines, so that's clearly not the float. That's not the guy that we try to bounce down there. That's okay. There's other guys available. Yeah, I agree, Blaine. Although Jace at 30 is a different proposition than Jace at 19, but yeah.
Yeah, a little bit different, but still, this one stings a little bit. This was my top target in the draft for a lot of reasons. One of them being the left-handed power and the fact that the athleticism is there for him to possibly stick at a corner outfield spot and potentially be a very good right fielder if he can't play third base as he moves up the ladder. Now, yeah, there are questions about the hit tool. You can nitpick that, but I think the Astros just got really good value here at 21 overall.
Yeah, can't deny that. I mean, look, they don't have the overwhelming number of picks, so they got to take their shot. I think they got a good one. Yeah. Could be a few years before you see them in the majors, but that's, the high school players. We've seen it with Nate George and a bunch of other ones, like obviously Jackson Holliday, Gunnar Henderson, et cetera, et cetera. If they're legit, they can move pretty quick as well.
No, he's a lefty. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'll say Crawford boxes, watch out. But no. And here's going back to Ike Irish here. I want to see what here's Tyler Jennings. Shout out to Tyler again. Love shining him out. Great content over there. Part of the Just Baseball Network at the On the Clock podcast. But his report on Irish, and he says great value, in my opinion. Really solid track record of hitting for average and power. Likely outfield. Maybe give him a shot to catch, a.k.a. don't give him a shot to catch, put him in the outfield. One of the most decorated recruits to make it to campus after the 2022 draft. Irish has cemented himself as one of the best SEC hitters in 2 years. Beautiful left-handed swing, direct to the baseball, quick hands, loud bat speed. And here's one of the bigger red flags that I mentioned right after the pick. His swing plane and bat path are relatively flat, which makes him conducive to a hefty amount of ground balls. And he cites in the Cape Cod League, where he did have those good numbers that I read off, he saw a ground ball rate over 50% in the Cape Cod League last summer. I don't know what that was this year at Auburn, but yeah, so that could be one thing. But if you've already got the solid hit tool and you're not bringing in a guy with those big question marks of the hit tool and the power numbers and power data is all there, and you just need to fix the launch angle issues, I'm fully down with that and love that this is the type of player you're getting here at pick 19 versus let's fix the hit tool first. Let's make contact first. Then let's start lifting the ball. We can just go straight to let's start lifting the ball and get you to AA and by the midpoint next year.
Yeah. I also saw in our Discord that he'll sign for about slot. So this doesn't really eat into our money too much here. Obviously, you're not getting under slot. You're not saving money, but a guy that's could have gone in the top 10, falling all the way to 19. I don't think you were expecting that, but at least he's not a big overslot deal. He's going to sign for about, what was it, $5 million around there?
Yeah. And here's Vance Honeycutt. I forget what he had in college, but we'll reference this, compare this. Vance Honeycutt last year, in that limited sample size after the Orioles drafted him, was running a 59% contact rate. It's 69% this year. So it has improved 10%, but still 69% right now. Ike Irish in college this year, 82% in zone contact rate. So more contact.
Very significant difference there. Why does it feel like the picks are slowing down now that the pressure's off?
Well, because we're now like kind of pulling back from it a little bit, but at the same time, we're intent on it because we need to see who doesn't get picked between now and the Orioles' next pick at 30th. Plus, we know that the further this gets into the draft, they have to drag out the coverage a little bit. Do you remember that segment a few years ago where they talked about Drew Waters being a good listener? And we had to sit through that for like 5 minutes.
I do not remember that, but I believe it. All right, top of your dome, top of your head, where would you guys slot Ike Irish into our top 50? Any ideas on the range?
Good question. I'm sure that's the question everyone wants now. Let me pull up our top 50.
First blush, as I'm just looking at my personal list, I'm thinking either probably right behind Dylan Beavers, above the pitcher group there until they like really break through. But oh yeah, easily top 7.
Is he number 3?
I would think he's number 3. I think personally.
We have our latest update has Basayo, Beavers, Bradfield, Ferret, Gibson top 5.
Oh yeah, definitely above Bradfield for me personally.
Then Bragg, Fabian, Young, Herman, McDermott.
Yeah, I know that from my personal list, I had Bradfield second in our most recent update, but I know that I'm going to do a lot of shuffling rounds I like to do after the draft. So rough guess right now for me is that Irish falls in the 4 to 7 range, maybe even the 2 to 6, somewhere in there, depending on how the rest of the night shakes out.
Yeah, that's true too, because I could easily see if we do get a big time high school player, which I'm not completely up on who's available in that tier of player, but could be ahead of Ike Irish as well if you're going for ceiling. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, I think you can make a case that he's above Beavers, but the way Beavers has developed and he's knocking on the door, deserves an MLB shot. I think no higher than 3, but probably no lower than 6.
Yeah, because I feel like wouldn't Beavers' numbers in AAA now be Irish's best case scenario when he gets to Norfolk?
I don't know about best case scenario, but you'd be very, very happy. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't.
Simpkins says ahead of Honeycutt.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think Honeycutt's like number 27 and falling like a rock for me. So yeah, I'd say so.
God, we get one shinier toy and we're throwing Vance Honeycutt in the trash. Not even donating him to Goodwill. Yeah. I mean, I'm riding high because it's draft night and I have no time to like sit here and like actually think and process anything. Just running on gas right now. But
Yep.
It's a mixture of hangover / more beer / energy drink coursing through my veins right now. So with all that said, I have a heart. I could easily see him being number 3.
Yeah. That's where I'm leaning. I will definitely adjust. I'm not that rash, but yeah. As I'm just patiently waiting for the next pick, I'm going to put him at 3. And then this is not a spoiler for the next top 50, which is a huge one midseason after the trade deadline. And for everybody, not just patrons, not a spoiler because there's still so much and will definitely be tinkered with as well.
I'd say as we sit over the next couple of days, and we've got a couple of weeks before we update. So as all this unfolds and we sit with it and we learn more, and maybe we even get to see him, see some action over the next couple of weeks, see how quickly he signs, of course. But I would say anywhere between 3 to 8, but I see 8 as the absolute floor right now.
I agree.
In that update. Which is good. Like this is what they need. Like you're starting out this draft off with a bang right here. You're adding some real fuel to the fire in this system, which I like it.
Yeah, like we've talked about, this is a deep system, but there's guys like beyond Basayo and Beavers, there's none. And obviously we're super high on the pitchers, but as far as position player prospects, especially Bradfield, we like a lot, but he's probably more of a, I don't know, like a 9-hole hitter that can get on base and play great defense. It's not like I don't think he's going to be a superstar unless he takes a huge step in one area. Great team player. I love everything about him, but he's never going to hit for much power. This is a guy that the system needs, where it's kind of reminiscent of when Colton Cowser, Heston Kjerstad, rest in peace, were drafted and coming up through the system. Just hit your way up in a hurry and then slow down once you get to the majors, I guess.
So I've had this thought about Bradfield for a while, and it's kind of lingered into this year. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it, which is that depending on how you felt about Bradfield coming into the Orioles system, your feelings have been validated somewhat. And I say that because after last year, it felt like if the hit tool was going to develop, there were signs of it there because contact rate was good. He wasn't striking out. He was walking in a high clip. The power seemed to tick up a little bit towards the end of the year. So it's like, all right, the Orioles are going to find a way to make this work. But if you have thought all along that Bradfield is one of those guys that can make contact and can draw walks, but he's not going to hit the ball hard when he makes contact, and the ceiling is probably, as you just said, Bob, a number 9 hitter in a good lineup, last year didn't do anything to dissuade you from that opinion. And
Not
here
at
we
all.
are now half a season into this year, actually a little bit more than half a season in the minors. And I think that's kind of still where we stand with Bradfield, which is that if you liked the bat coming into the system, you still have a lot of reasons to be optimistic. But if you had a lot of questions about it, your opinion has not changed. And if anything, you might feel stronger about those question marks than you did when he was first drafted.
Yeah, I mean, I said this in the Discord the other day, but I see him as like a 330 to 350 on base, maybe 700 OPS type of guy. Great defense, just great speed. Obviously going to cause chaos, probably be more valuable than just the pure numbers indicate for that kind of thing alone. And yeah, maybe just like a WRC plus around 100, maybe slightly above. And I think that alone is probably a 4-WAR player with everything else he brings you on defense and speed and stolen bases and intangibles that don't even get accounted for, but they're through the roof as well. So yeah, no issues whatsoever with Bradfield 2 years later.
Yeah, it's just frustrating with Bradfield this year because he ended last year on such that high note. And you're like, all right, if you have questions about the hit tool, then he was starting to answer some of those questions and look a lot better. Not saying he's going to break out and be this new type of player that we weren't expecting as he's gets more fully developed, but still you just feel more confident. I think that was the bigger question mark when we had last year. It was like, is he going to be able to hit at the major league level? Like if he could just be an average hitter, even just slightly below average hitter, but consistent, like you said, the speed and defense and all the other intangibles are going to make up for that. And he's going to be a potential all-star type player, someone you want in this lineup every single night. A fantastic potential, replacement to Cedric Mullins out there in center field on this roster down the road. But this year it's just with the multiple hamstring injuries and just getting off to that slow start. He just hasn't really had that opportunity. And now it's even he comes back, he's starting to get some at-bats under his belt, and he's had a couple of really good games here lately. And then he takes this pause. Now he's going out to the futures game. So how much of a break is he going to get now that we're here in a 4-day break for the minor leagues? It's like, I don't know. I'd like to see him kind of come out the gates in the second half hot, but I'm not going to call this year a wash, but it's just, and not frustrating. It kind of just is what it is this year with Bradfield. And you still think he can come out and he could still be doing things the organization likes. And then he could come out and have a really good spring and be fully healthy, ready to go, have a great spring, and still start next year in AAA and be in a fine position. So we'll see.
I hate to call this out, It's bird's eye view. I like you guys over there. They just tweeted out, "Yeah, I hate the pick. Let's see what else happens in this draft, but getting closer to the Fire Elias crowd." See, that's the kind of
We're
reaction.
one pick into the draft, guys. I love you too. Like, we're one pick into the draft. Give it a little bit of time here.
Is it just because you saw the letter C next to the pick? Like,
That's
what
it.
is
All.
this reaction? I mean,
He's a white outfielder. Oh God, we did it again.
I mean, that's crazy to me because this is what BA ranks him as the 13th best prospect of the draft. We got him at 19. I think this is a clear W. I don't know.
Granted, this was to save money and be an underslot pick for the Mariners, but there was a lot of juice around him going number 3 to the Seattle Mariners. Like the bat is for real. Like that's what it is. That's what you are buying here, and this is what you want. Everybody has so much issues with those first 10 rounds of the draft, right? How they're not performing for a number of different reasons. And I know that debate's been had very often over the last couple of weeks as we got closer and closer to this draft. But I mean, truth of the matter is, yes, it's very early. Yes, we need to give those guys more time. But there wasn't a guy in last year's draft class. Like, just first thought off the top of our head, was there a guy in last year's draft class of the Ike Irish build? I don't think so.
No, there wasn't. Last year's draft, people will ease, and honestly, I forgot about it as time went on. It was a weak draft, like completely. It was a weaker draft, and especially like we talked about, the guys that we would have wanted went right before our pick. So, I mean, they went with ceiling. So far, it's backfired, but I mean, there's still plenty of time to develop. I don't know. This fan base sometimes, I guess it's all fan bases.
Yeah, and just to put this into a larger context, Travis Bazzana, who was not a reach at 1-1 last year by the Guardians, has a 765 OPS between two levels of the minor, or excuse me, 807 OPS between two levels of the minors this year with 254 batting average and 4 home runs. If that guy was in the Orioles system right now, fans would be screaming about how bad he's doing. But he's at Double-A in his first year of pro ball, performing okay. He's probably going to be a solid player down the line. He's not going to be a great player. He's going to be a solid player. That's kind of what you had in last year's draft.
Yeah, exactly. San Diego Padres take the most San Diego Padres pick of all time. Cruz Schoolcraft.
That is the best name in the draft, though.
It is a cool name. Yeah,
Kid's a monster. I'll give him that.
He's 2A, right? Or potentially.
Yeah. He's what did I have written down here in case he was? He's 6'8". He reclassified, so he's just going to be 18 on draft day. He was originally part of the 2026 class, but I think he played. Oh, some notes about. So I think he played basketball, or he was like he was a two-way player. He was a two-way player. He has dyslexia, and there was like some notes in Joe Dole's report about just like him overcoming that. And so like having to overcome that and then being a two-way guy, and then he's just all these kind of off the field struggles that he's conquered and like uses to his advantage now. And like the ceiling is just unbelievable with this kid because like he hasn't focused solely on pitching ever. And so you're 6'8", and it's just kind of effortless delivery out there. But to the Ike Irish thing, here's someone had said he was high on Keith Law thing. I don't see the mock here, but I like Keith Law's kind of blurb just now. So he was hit in the back by a pitch, the injury that caused him to miss some time. He was hit in the back, and it fractured his scapula. So that's why he wasn't catching, but went to the outfield for a little bit. He can really hit. Old school approach, uses the whole field, hit about 50% more fly balls to left field this year, so he's pulling the ball more. He did start pulling the ball more as the season went on, though, which will help him with models that zero in on players who pull the ball in the air.
Which is what you want to see. That's our model, that's for sure.
Regardless of where it's going, he hits the ball extremely hard. What do we want? What do we want in the draft pick? Outside of Shohei Ohtani in the 18th round, what do people want in their draft pick? Like,
here's another tweet that just came across. Bird notice. This is a patron, but I'm sure drafting a left-handed hitting catcher to pair with Basayo, who is also a left-handed hitting catcher, is going to prove to be revolutionary.
He's
just
not
read about the player will you crash out? Like, come on, guys. The thing that gets me, especially like Bird's Eye View, because like I said, I like those guys. That they're a fun podcast. People listen to them, and they're going to take this as gospel. They're going to just see this, and that's going to be for some people, that's going to like help make their mind up. Which it's like that's just uninformed and bad.
Yeah, like give it time. Like I said, we're excited right now because it's new talent. These are new guys to talk about, and honestly, like, I mean, watching so many of these guys, it's like, and just me just loving all drafts. I watched the NHL draft a couple years ago. I had no clue who these guys are, where they're from. I just love the draft process. So I'm riding a high right now. And like, as over the next couple of weeks, we'll learn, like, we'll do more research, talk to more people. We'll find out more about Ike Irish. And I'm sure we'll see some more weaknesses than just the ground ball issue, right? There's going to be some more red flags that pop up. But again, you're picking at 19, not number 1 overall. So there are going to be holes for all of these guys. But yeah, there'll be reasons to be like, I don't know. I do have questions about this pick. But like your initial gut reaction about a player you've never seen play before and it had never heard of before tonight when the pick was made, like, relax. Like, this is a hitter. He has a lot of tools that people have been begging for with these draft picks. And let's see what he can do now that he's in the system. But
social media never fails. Oh man.
No, it does not, as we saw through Brian Baker trade. And I want to talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Between picks,
yeah,
which is that the Orioles trade Brian Baker to the Rays for the 37th overall pick. And the first thing that I thought when I saw that trade, and the point that I wanted to make on the show, is that do not judge that pick by who gets picked 37th overall. What that pick was about was expanding the bonus pool to get more talent out of this class than they would have been able to otherwise. They picked up a lot of money with that pick. And that's what it really is about. It's not about the 37th pick and who you're going to pick there. It's about getting more money out of this bonus pool. So if we're going to analyze, as we have in the past, the Orioles cut a deal with Colton Cowser or Heston Kjerstad to try to get more money later in the draft. Let's look at this trade in the same way, which is that the Orioles are just trying to get more out of this. And I think they did it in a way that was smart because Brian Baker has been very good this year, but we know Brian Baker's track record. He probably won't be a Ray a year and a half from now because he will either have gotten too expensive and they will have traded him, or he will have kind of bottomed out and he doesn't have options and they'll, DFA'd him. I thought that was a really good move at that point.
I thought Mike Elias said it best. I'll admit, my first reaction when I saw, okay, Brian Baker's been traded to Tampa Bay Rays. He just told his teammates, I'm like, all right, are we getting Jackson Ballmeister back? Like, what is? I'm just thinking player, and then I hear comp pick, and my first thing is like, oh, okay. Then I was like, oh, it's 37 overall. Are you kidding me? Like, and then Mike Elias, I thought said it best, was like, this came together quickly because they made an offer and it was too good to refuse. And it's like, yeah, absolutely. This is a waiver claim who has struggled off and on, mostly on his Orioles career. I believe his the new changeup, his new pitch mix, I believe that he's better now for sure, but he's still a reliever without options. And like, are you kidding me? Relievers are so volatile. This was such a slam dunk of a move. And people were, again, crashing out, as the kids would say about that. Yeah, just don't understand it. I mean, it was beautiful. And we're going to see the repercussions of that coming up pretty soon now.
Yeah, I mean, if you trade Brian Baker for, some 18-year-old Dominican Summer League guy, I get maybe a little bit of anger and be like, what the heck, right? But I do agree. Like that's a Rays thinking we really need a pitcher. We really want this reliever, and we're gonna kind of jump the gun here on the trade market, and we're gonna overpay for Brian Baker. Go for it. Enjoy. You can replace Brian Baker's production, and like Yeah, like what if he is a pumpkin again in a week or two? Like, yeah, you can do so much more with this bonus pool money because that's the biggest thing with the draft and what makes it impossible to guess at. The biggest variable in the MLB draft and the one variable that us as fans have no access to are the signing bonus demands of these kids. And so if you can arm yourself with the highest bonus pool ever and all of these picks, and you can help get to that point by trading off a reliever who you can replace very easily. It's not Felix Bautista. It was Brian Baker. It's fantastic. And like we'll be the first to sit here and criticize trades that are meh, but at the same time, like that deal was A+. Loved it.
Yeah, I just would love to just go back and look at it. How many tweets were made by Orioles fans complaining that Brian Baker made the team. It wasn't designated for assignment before the season started versus the reaction 3 months later when he's traded for a very high draft pick, basically a first-round draft pick.
So just backtracking for a moment here, Gage Wood out of Arkansas goes to the Phillies with the 26th overall pick. This was a guy that we had in our mock draft when we did it all together a few weeks ago on our show. I think that there's a lot of promise here. There is very high reliever risk, but the reason that I liked him possibly to the Orioles would be that they could fix the changeup, and that's probably the difference maker for him as a starter. And Nick pumping his fist here because Jace Laviolette is off the board, and we don't have to have that fight on social media. So forget my point about Gage Wood.
No, screw it. You know, I was waiting for it. We're going to take a white outfielder, and then we're going to take another one of Jason Laviolette with all the hit tool concerns, and we're going to watch Twitter burn to the ground here on a Sunday night. But we don't have to worry about that. Kudos to Cleveland. I wish Jason Laviolette all the best. Dude is a gamer. He broke his hand. He had surgery, and the next day was in the lineup getting a hit. I wish him all the best in Cleveland. Not too much because, you know, they are in another fellow AL team. But yeah, I'm glad it's done and we don't have to worry about that conversation anymore. Who's the best? Did you have your mute, Reese?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I was going to say that is a relief. Who is? I mean, Aloy is still available, correct? Brandon Summerhill, Luke Stevenson. I know Nick's not excited about that one potentially. Devin Taylor. I think he is would be a really interesting pick in 30-31 area. I think he's really talented. AJ Russell could be. Riley Quick, if you want to talk about pitchers. Josh Hammond is still there. Dean Curley. So certainly some fun picks potentially as we get closer now.
I go back to a point I made during our mock draft a couple of weeks ago, is that Hammond is interesting to me because he's so young that you could take the chance on a two-way player profile for a couple of years and just see which one sticks. Maybe both stick, but chances are they won't. So if you figure out after a year or two that he's better off on the mound, you can make that switch. If he's better off at third base, which is probably where he's going to end up as a hitter, you can do that, and you still got a high ceiling guy there. So I think that would be a pretty solid value at 30 or 31.
Josh Hammond goes to the Royals at pick.
And there we go.
28. Yeah. So it's the Diamondbacks again. See if they Quentin Young. Yeah, that is an interesting name too. We'll see if the Diamondbacks can piss us off one more time here before pick 30.
All the options are still here. Even Aloy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to bet if Aloy doesn't go next, or Aloy, sorry, I don't exactly know how it's pronounced. If he doesn't go to the Diamondbacks, he's got to be one of these two picks, and that's got to be a little bit of an overslot deal there, right?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, this is a guy that was consistently mocked in the top 20 to top 25, where the consensus was the talent might have been a little bit higher than that. So I do think that is a real possibility. One thing I would love to know, and this is not something we're going to answer on this show tonight, is what effect NIL has had on college baseball. Because it's talked about so much with football and basketball, but no one talks about baseball. And the Orioles had to go a little bit over slot last year to get Vance Honeycutt, which I don't think 4 or 5 years ago they would have had to do. but with baseball, NIL outside of Paul Skeens has not really been talked about.
No, that's the big question I have, because I don't know. I've listened to a lot of other shows talk about this, and it just seems mixed, because like the money is flowing, but it's not flowing, I think, as a lot of people probably assume it is. Like college baseball teams were just now beginning to be able to pay 3 coaches on their teams. Like the money, some guys are getting real big NIL deals for sure, probably 6 figures or close to 6 figures. But you look at a lot of guys. Let me pull up the trackers so I can see like slot values. But you're looking at guys. Let's go like 5th round. All right, 5th round is about, slot values start at $534,000 down to $407,000. All right. If you're a college junior even who gets picked in this range, and you transfer from a mid-major program up to an ACC school and you're getting $200K, would you rather be a 5th Patrick Forbes to the Diamondbacks? All right.
Okay,
but would you rather take, would you rather be a 5th round draft pick and take $500K and go play, in rookie ball, or for the Orioles, like you're going to go play for the Delmarva Shorebirds? All right, that could be one thing. Or do you take the $200K that you're going to get at Clemson or so, ACC school, and get to live another year of that college life, another year playing in packed out stadiums, electric games, and maybe increase your stock a little bit more? And even if you don't, and maybe you're a senior sign next year, so that signing bonus is not going to be there for you next year, but you're still pocketing $250K in college. Like, how many guys are going to say, I want another year of college? I'll do the pros next year. I'll push it off. And so, yeah, if you take me here at pick 138 and the slot value is $529,000, I want every penny of that slot value. Then I'll sign. But if not, I'm going back to college and I got a $250,000 check waiting for me. I don't know. It's interesting to think about and see kind of how that does play out here.
Yeah, we're on the clock. You get 2 picks in a row here, so I don't know if they're going to do like they get extra time and they take them back to back, or they just kind of do it standard. But yeah, I would fully expect Eloy to be one of these 2 picks. And
I agree. And
sorry.
Oh,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say I have some concerns about Eloy's hit tool, but at the same time, if you're able to get him at 30 or 31, that feels a lot better to me, especially because with his profile, he is going to stick at shortstop, and there is some power there.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'd say Eloy, and my next prediction is going to be Devin Taylor. Just get the polished bats that are going to move quickly through this system. Let's go. Like, I would be stoked for that. And then 37, you could do high school, or you could do pitcher like Luke Evanson, someone like that. So,
yeah, and with Wood off the board, the pitcher that I kind of wanted the Orioles to take here is not an option anymore.
Right. And like Nick has talked about. What is it? What is it? There's laughs. What does this mean?
Coastal Carolina catcher Kaden Boddine. Come on down.
Oh, I can't wait to see the reactions. I want to freak out.
All right, so what are our thoughts on this deal? This is not one that I saw coming.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Someone else at Bob's house loves it too.
All right, so one of Bob's kids tried that one, so apparently it was not very good.
I can't wait to get a bird's eye view reaction to this one. Boddine, I mean, I've heard good things about Boddine coming into this. Look, up the middle player. Take Eloy next. I'm still content with it. I mean, this one is actually a catcher, right? And he's got a great hit tool. So,
yes.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. Look, guys, you don't draft, like Vivek said it perfectly in the chat, is that you don't draft for need. Look, you get drafting guys that you're going to try to trade at the trade deadline in 3 years or what have you. Like, these are just assets that the organization is able to use to their benefit in any which way, whether it's have them come up and work for what we need, or maybe they're going to eventually let Adley go. God forbid. I don't know. It's just, you never know what's going to happen. Get the most talented guys in here, best player available, just like the Ravens of old used to do, and let the things fall where they may.
Yeah, so Bodine, Coastal Carolina guy, right? He hit 5 home runs this year, 24 total extra base hits, a 15% walk rate compared to a 7.7% strikeout rate. He's a 3-year guy at Coastal Carolina, and his strikeout rates 8.1%, 8.1%, 7.7%. Here is, let me pull up. Azad Earl's got the good data in his sheet here. Through the first month plus of the season, he did not swing and miss on a fastball in the zone. I gave up tracking that, but it was a good chunk of the season. He did not miss a single fastball in the zone. 89% contact rate, 4% in zone whiff rate, max EV up to 109 miles per hour. Up again.
Uh-oh, what's next?
Another...
Here it is.
Let's go.
Yes.
Yes. Love it. Help you? Okay.
So I can't wait until 5 years from now. Everybody says, oh, the Orioles put Cameron Boddine over Vahiva Aloy while Aloy makes his first all-star team. But this is...
What
Number
a
one,
cue
how
to
you
get
kind
hit
of wanted the draft to fall. You got more bonus money to work with. You got a guy that should have been picked higher in the draft, falling to you at 31. You're going to be able to pay him over slot, which is what it's going to take to sign him. And as I said earlier, I have some questions about the hit tool. But you have someone with power who can stick at shortstop. So what are your guys' thoughts on this pick?
Couldn't love it anymore, honestly. This is a guy I wanted at 19 to get him at 31 while also getting 2 other talented players. Sorry, guys. I'm ecstatic, to be honest with you. And we have another pick here coming up pretty shortly. So this is a fun night.
Dude, we're talking about a lawyer, Bodine. I'm already lost.
Well, both. Yeah.
All right. I want to go back to, just general thought about Aloy real quick. Yeah, there might be questions about the hit tool a little bit, but the power potential here with Aloy, his size, to get him to fall here at 31 is fantastic. And to get 2 guys with premier hit tools, specifically Bodine with the premier hit tool. We can talk more about that here in a moment. But with Aloy, I'm trying to pull up some of his numbers here. I can't find the end zone data here, but Aloy, so he started out Sacramento State, right, and was good. And then he transfers to the SEC and had a bit of a down year last year, transferring to the SEC. Fine, right? That's going to take some time. But then this year, everything ticked back up. He had 21 home runs this season, 19 doubles. He hit 350. He hit 270 last year. Last year, he had an 86 WRC plus. This year's a 137 WRC plus. 20% strikeout rate, not bad in the SEC. 10% walk rate. He had a really, really good year. Golden Spikes winner. Granted, that doesn't necessarily mean he's the best pro prospect. It just means he was the top college baseball player. But he's going to stick at shortstop. He might move over to third base, sure, but this is a guy who's going to stick on the left side of the infield. And let's see, we got some of this stuff. 114 max EV. 109 90th percentile EV. 57% of Wahiva Aloy's batted balls were 95 miles per hour or harder this year for Arkansas. Launch angle god. He's got that pretty solid. A little bit of a whiff rate. Breaking balls, he does struggle against breaking balls. Swing decisions apparently do need to be cleaned up a little bit, but he's going to stick at shortstop. He's got the power. He's a big guy. I love it. You're taking the gamble on the hit tool at 31 compared to 19, even getting him to fall. A+.
Yeah, here's Baseball Prospectus little clip they have. He's a tool shed. I've never heard that before. Beyond the shortstop defense, which should translate up at any level, he hits the ball very, very hard, posting an EV 90 just under 109, an impressive number even with college bats. And let's see, shout out to Dan Sanchez on Blue Sky, who's enjoying this draft as well. The Orioles got the 11th, 16th, and 29th players on the Baseball America draft board with picks 19, 30, and 31. Pretty good so far. I dare Orioles Twitter / Blue Sky to find a problem with this pick.
Yeah, I think so far it's been a good draft. And, you can nitpick the Bodine pick all you want, but at the end of the day, they've gotten, as you just mentioned there, Bob, 3 players that most national rankings had much higher than where they were ultimately picked. And in Eloy, they've gotten a really solidified shortstop with power at 31st overall. You don't get that opportunity very often in the draft. And, I do have concerns about how the hit tool is going to play. But at the end of the day, if he can play the position defensively and he can give you some power there, that's going to add a lot of value.
Yeah, sorry. Still just trying to process everything. At least we took Boddine instead of Stevenson, right, Nick? If we were going to take a catcher there.
Oh, I'm going to pull up. I don't have the photo here. I can post. I'm going to post a photo in our chat, and maybe you can bring it up.
Okay.
This is going to speak to the defensive abilities of Boddine, if I can. My computer is about to be done.
Marcus Phillips goes to Boston at pick 33.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring this comment up because I find it really funny. Jake W1066, old GM dude is Dan O'Dowd, who was general manager of the Rockies in the mid 2000s, and I don't think has been general manager anywhere since.
For a good reason.
All right. Yeah, there's this image I just posted in our private chat. If you can pull that up for people watching, they're showing it on the ESPN broadcast right now. You talk about an elite, not only the unbelievable hit tool, the framing for Kaden Boddine is immaculate. Truly immaculate. This guy steals strikes like no one else did in college. Like, this guy is legit. Here you go. Look at that. All those balls he pulled in for tricks.
This one.
Now some of that, let's give it. Let's college umpires. Not great. We saw that if you watch the College World Series, you saw that. Apparently, some of them had a little bit of attitude, but yeah, that's more than just bad umpiring. That's stud catching behind the plate right there.
Yeah, now I'm glad it's the challenge system and not full ABS after getting this guy on in the system.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Love it. Let's see. Anything else happen? Michael Olivietto. That's definitely the Tigers going with pick number 34 with a high school catcher ranked 219 according to Pipeline. They're going under slot here. Doesn't affect us very much. Summerhill is still available. If they take Luke Stevenson, that would be insane. Alex Lodice.
That's too far.
Cam Canarella. We still could get Lil Breezy or whatever. Sorry, I already forgot his rapper name. Devin Taylor, Riley Quick.
At 37, I wouldn't mind Canarella. I really wouldn't.
I mean, if Summerhill's there, I'd rather have Summerhill than Canarella, to be honest with you. But yeah.
Yeah, Blaine's comment there. They truly are. But again, that I don't want to take anything away from Kaden Boddine. That kid's a stud, kid's a hitter. Again, the thing for me was just like, how do you go? Like, yeah, it's the Sun Belt, and I am the Sun Belt's biggest supporter. I will bang the table that the Sun Belt is one of the top conferences in all sports. But like, how do you go over a month? And I wish I knew the exact date when the streak ended. How do you go that long without swinging and missing at a fastball in the zone? Granted, sure, you're not facing elite pitching. I don't think Coastal's off. Can't remember their non-conference schedule. I don't think it was like uber tough. But still, at whatever level, that's impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Mariners on the clock, then the Twins, then it's back to the Orioles. Then we probably have to sign off, but this is going so well. I kind of want to just stay on all night and do all the first 3 rounds, but I think I'd be divorced if I did that. Might be worth it, but
We had that year a few years ago. We were on the air for 6 hours.
Yeah,
Remember that?
I
Too
do.
much.
That was a little much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to put this out on the podcast feed too. So
Yeah, not just
Well,
into the void.
yeah, the last 4 hours of that went to patrons only.
Very good perk. Very
Yeah.
good perk.
Us
Yeah.
rambling
We get
for
loopy.
4 hours.
Yeah.
Here's some more. I'm at Tyler Jennings' report again, going back, trying to catch up as I start to try to process. So on Kaden Boddine, not a ton of upside further to tap into, but he's one of the most major league ready bats in the class. Barrel awareness and bat to ball skills are top of the charts from both sides of the plate. That's a big thing. He is a switch hitter as well. Luke Stevenson goes, I think, to somebody.
Yeah, I was just saying, good.
Perfect. Let's see. Contact rate 89%, 90% versus lefties, 88% versus righties, 94% end zone contact rate. Similar numbers in 2025. Those are 2024 numbers. Handles velocity and spin, keep strikeouts to a minimum. He chases more from the right side, more power from the left side. That will be pretty helpful. But behind the plate, he's got optimal size for a backstop. He's a consistent force. His blocking skills are good. Instincts are solid. Arm strength is the issue, though. So what he has in the framing and blocking, he does lack in the arm strength. But yeah, this is a guy who I don't think you're going to see him in the lower levels of the minor leagues very long at all.
Yeah.
So the pick's in for the Twins ahead of the Orioles.
All right. I'm thinking it's going to be another college hitter. I just think there's too many really good college hitters available. And honestly, I like the one strategy that I saw connected to the Orioles with the amount of money they have is we could literally do what we always do. And then late in the rounds 11 through 20, just like with Nate George, you can convince some talented high school players to forego their commitments by giving them like $500,000 here, $500,000 there. That we should have that much money left over. So especially if you count the 5% overage that the Orioles could dip into. So don't be too disappointed if the high school picks don't come until later in the draft.
Well, that's a great point because if Nate George had gone the junior college route it seemed like he was going to do before the Orioles took him, he would probably be a day 2 pick this year at the rate that he's going, maybe even a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially if again, trying to process. I'll edit this out, but a lot going on. Riley Quick goes to the Twins right before the Orioles. I don't think that was much competition for us at that point.
God, we're back up again. Can I catch up for 1 minute?
I know. All right. My official prediction.
Another catcher.
I don't really think there's any. Well, I don't want to jinx it, but this high up the rankings. Any official predictions before we get spoiled here? The top 5, according to Baseball America: Brandon Summerhill, Alex Lodice, Cam Canarella, Slater DeBrun, and Anthony Ianson. Also, Devin Taylor is 7th highest here. AJ Russell, Dean Curley, still a college shortstop.
Any of them. I honestly don't care.
I think Summerhill. I'm going to go ahead and say Summerhill.
Yeah, Summerhill would be a good pick here.
Be a steal, to be honest with you. We're just waiting now. Waiting for the reaction. Let's see. This is the first time I'm seeing a picture of Luke Stevenson. He is a big dude. I can understand why he's got the power.
He's huge. He hit some nukes. But yeah, it's like 40 hit tool, I think.
Don't need that in our lives at this moment in time.
No.
No, I don't want it to be talking about that in a couple of months, let alone next summer.
Yeah, we got Wahiva Loy. It worked. It worked this year. That's
true.
all I care about.
That's true.
Yeah.
We didn't jinx anything.
Those first 3 picks.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Got some Quentin Young fans in the house. I would be satisfied with that.
Yeah, it would be too.
I'll take it.
The pick is in. And the guy with the Orioles jersey is once again shown on MLB Network.
Let's go. I seen the pick, but I just want to make sure nobody's spoiled. Hold on. Can I find it in time?
Oh, we got it. There we go.
It's Slater DeBrun. I'm trying to find the comment way up in the chat with his rapper name.
All right, so Team USA. That's the first thought that I have here.
Yep.
We know that the Orioles value Team USA success, but otherwise, what can you see in Slater DeBrun that makes him a good pick here, or maybe not a good pick?
Lil Slay. That's the only reason he's a good pick. No, clearly super talented high school outfielder. Speaking of, Nate George, I mean, this is a guy that's going to give you a ton of upside. I think Nick said he's a little on the smaller side, but speed, hit ability, just, I don't know. Nick, I know you've done a lot of research in the last few days on the high school guys. You got anything?
Here's what I wrote on Slater DeBrun. A lot of Slade Caldwell comps to DeBrun, which is great because I love Slade Caldwell. Diamondbacks pick last year, as we were talking about. It's very Diamondbacks pick. Plus speed, plus defense in center field. A lot more, I think as we gotten closer, there's a lot more Corbin Carroll comps. Because this year, I guess as 2025 rolled along, he started showing more power and developed a little bit more physicality this year. MLB Pipeline noted that at present time, Slater DeBrun has more power than Corbin Carroll did at his age. So if you're comping him a little bit, maybe the power is legit there. This is a quote from Peter Flaherty at Baseball America, who said, "Advanced baseball sense that shines across all facets of the game, plays with infectious energy and bounce that rubs off on all with whom he shares a dugout with. Intangibles are cherry on top, high impact, leadoff type bat with some juice, 60 hit tool grades." I think one of the big concerns was maybe physically he's kind of maxed out at this point. But I think if you're talking about like the power is already starting to shine through there, you can maybe tap into that a little bit more. Hey, if you got a little Corbin Carroll Jr. here, I'm down. It's maybe my first instinct without Kason Cunningham went, right?
Yes.
Okay. So maybe I would have liked Dex Kilby. If you're going to go to the high school rank, maybe I would have liked Dex Kilby a little more here, but I'm not mad at all at this pick. I think this is a guy who, as more people start to see his personality, apparently he's going to be a fan favorite. But yeah, he's a little short, compact, powerful, though. Good hit tool, good speed, good defense. I like shooting the moon a little bit here with the high school pick after going all these. Right, there you go. Him and Nate George together. Oh, boy. Let's go.
Yeah. Nate George and Lil Slay just playing with their hair on fire. Let's go. Oh, man, I love this draft already. Doesn't even matter what they do from here, I feel like.
This has been a lot of fun to watch. Now, there are still some good players available, and I feel like even at the 58th pick, the Orioles are going to get good value, but curious to see, what do you guys see maybe in the next few picks, how things are going to play out?
I mean, honestly, the fact that Brendan Summerhill is still there, I'm like, are we talking to him about 58 over slot deal? Like some of these guys, if they can, Devin Taylor, again, the Orioles love their college hitters. There's plenty of good ones available and a lot of really good pitchers. I think this is a deep draft with pitchers. JB Middleton, I know, is a name we like. There's plenty of them, but yeah, Gavin Turley, I've seen connected to us, another decent guy to look out for, closer to the 4th or 5th round. But yeah, I'm really excited to break this entire draft down tomorrow night or whenever. I forget if we decided when we're going to do that, but maybe tomorrow night, maybe another night. But yeah, incredible start to this draft. Let's keep it up.
Yeah, you're trying to see those Orioles. If Ike Irish is slot, Kaden Bodine's probably get him under slot a little bit, maybe. Aloy, maybe around slot. Slater DeBrun is I've seen some comments already that he's a clear overslot pick.
Yeah,
I think,
so.
Where's he committed to? I don't have that here. And I closed out the other thing.
Vanderbilt.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So yeah, he's definitely an overslot. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you still have a ton of money. Like even with that Slater DeBrun pick, you can still be uber aggressive here with your next couple of picks. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. It feels like there is still a lot of money to play with here. And again, this is why the Orioles went out and made the move that they did to trade Brian Baker to the Rays, because now you have a record-setting bonus pool to work with. And possibility, I feel like based on the way the draft is falling, getting a high upside player at 58 is pretty high.
Oh, Mets getting Mitch Voigt. I like him a lot. Early. Oh, I feel like that was way too early.
It's weird how the tracker doesn't just go straight down. You have to switch back to round 1 for this, but yeah, that's a good pick for him.
Yeah, I'm curious, and we'll have a more in-depth answer in August when we update our top 50, but I feel like there's a lot of ways it could fall. I've had to think Aloy is going to be pretty highly ranked within our top 50. Does it feel like that's maybe a 3 to 5 range? I don't think he's going to pass Basayo for one.
No.
But it feels like the ceiling could be pretty high with him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough call, I think, for me personally, between Aloy and Ike Irish for who I have higher. Whichever one wins out, probably number 3 on my list at the end of the day. But again, I'm going to read and watch a bunch of stuff on these guys and really try to hone in before I make a final decision.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of tough decisions we're going to have to make, not just because of the players that the Orioles are bringing into the system now, but looking at players that have fallen and risen. And this was a big theme of our most recent update over on Patreon, is that we've had a lot of fallers and a lot of risers among players that are already in the system this year. So if you're looking at how our top 50 is going to shake out, it leaves a lot of question marks, not necessarily in a bad way, but with, if Nate George has continued his ascent, how high up is he going to go? Where does he compare to these players that have been taken in this year's class? So we could see some big shakeups.
All right, what is DeBrun's nickname again?
Lil Slay with 3 Ys.
There we go.
I will answer Jabo. Is Aloy the top shortstop in the system on day 1? Yeah, without a doubt, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, not even close.
This is why I wanted Aloy so bad at 19, because you don't draft for need, yada yada. But like, I mean, we go
there,
back to
right?
Yeah, and go back to before the season started. I think it was, for me, it was that realization when we did the best tools episode before the season started, and I'm going through this system. I'm like, okay, where's the infield? Like, where's the impact infield in AAA, AA, even high level right now? Like, the international prospect side, there's a good amount of that. It's coming up. Aaron Estrada in high A, like right now as well. But like, there are some pieces, but a lot of these guys are super young. But like, where's the high end infield talent in the upper levels of the minors that's on the cusp of the major leagues? It's just not there. Aloy is going to help fill that void a lot.
Yeah, it's huge pick. I mean, I know these guys are going to max out at Aberdeen this year, but I mean, I feel like Aloy has the type of skills where he could honestly finish this year at AA, and it would not be a stretch.
No, not at all. I mean, an advanced college player coming into the system. We've seen the Orioles be aggressive in the last couple of years with guys that I don't think had as well-rounded skill sets coming into pro ball as Aloy does right now. So I do think at the bare minimum, we're going to see him in Aberdeen before the season ends, but I wouldn't rule out Chesapeake either.
Yeah. And yeah, I like that they got some quick risers. I mean, obviously DeBrun is a little Slay's a different story, but would love to see him. I'm trying to think with the FCL season ending soon. Is he going to get a chance in Delmarva this year? Or are we going to just have to? We'll probably just have to wait to see him next season in all likelihood. But it would be cool if he could, because there's already guys like Steve Martinez and Jordan Sanchez that could use those at to Delmarva more. But yeah, at least for the 3 college guys, it's going to be fun. These guys are going to, I feel like, hit the ground running and kind of race up the system, and which is going to help a lot with the sagging middle that we talked about. And that's before the trade deadline even comes.
Yeah, I think with Slay, I'm already calling him Slay. I forgot his real name.
It's not important.
Yeah, I see I don't want to throw a Nate George comp right here. I'm not doing that, but I'm saying as far as like the timeline is concerned, I doubt we see him at all this year. You're going to send him down to Sarasota, get him acclimated down there, get him playing some, inter-squad scrimmages, intra-squad scrimmages, everything they do down there. Because the FCL season ends in, a week, but they keep playing games. So he's going to see some action, hopefully get some fun reports down there out of camp. But yeah, I don't think we see him at all in a game this year. But couple days, ideally, couple weeks, Dex Kilby goes to the Yankees, couple weeks to start the FCL next year, and then he's in Delmarva around the same time Nate George was in Delmarva this year. Hopefully, that's best case scenario. But I think George, obviously, I'm not going to sit and pretend like I know a ton about Slater DeBruin because I don't, other than just what I've been reading over the last 48 hours and a couple video clips. But I feel like he's probably, if I had to guess, I would say Slater DeBruin is a little bit more advanced probably than Nate George was. And so maybe he needs a little bit, maybe you feel a little bit more comfortable. And when you look at his profile, this is like contact, I don't want to say a slap hitter, but a contact, line drive, gap to gap hitter. You hope there's a little bit more power in the profile, but this guy's just going to ambush pitchers, attack fastballs, shoot the ball into the gaps, use that speed. So maybe he needs a little bit less time down there in rookie ball, and you can move him up fairly quickly next year.
Yeah, not to mention the profiles are a little bit different at this point. Last year, George was committed to a junior college, whereas DeBruin is committed to Vanderbilt. So there is, in theory, a little bit more of a ceiling, or at least an identified ceiling now with DeBruin compared to where it was with George last year. But I would agree with that. I do think he's probably a little bit more advanced coming into the system, even if you want to split hairs and say his ceiling is not as high.
Yep, completely agree on my end.
And with that, now we will head into our final segment of the night. Last call brought to you by Checker Spot Brewing, located at 1421 Ridgely Street. Checker Spot is not far from Camden Yards, making it the perfect place for a pre or post game drink. And when you're at Orioles games this year, be sure to check out the beer stand behind home plate to get one of Checker Spot's signature beers, The Bird is the Word. So we'll now go into the big question of the night, which is draft related. Usually we're covering players that are already in the system in this final segment, but I want to go with this one, which is, what was your favorite pick of the night? Are there any that give you concerns? Now, mind you, the Orioles do have another pick before night one closes, but as far as our coverage goes, it is the first 4 picks of this draft from the Orioles. Based on what you've seen so far, what players do you like the most, and are there any that give you concerns? I'm going to start with Bob here.
Favorite pick of the night is going to be, I'll just take the easy one. It's a Lloyd for me. To get him 31, when this guy, it was like, please fall to 19, please fall to 19. We get him at 31. That's awesome. So I'll say that is my favorite pick. I guess if I had to pick one that I might have a concern with, I guess it's Boddine, but I mean, that is really good value for where he was selected. It's a high floor type of player, but also a little bit of a ceiling there as well. And to me, just get that talent in the system. I loved every single pick so far. It's only 4, obviously, 4 picks with plenty more to come, but those would be my picks.
Yeah, I think my favorite, this is a tough one. The most interesting, I think, is Boddine. I want to see how quickly he rises through the system, how that bat plays, and kind of what his future role is going to be here. He does have experience. He does have some experience playing on the dirt. I don't know how much of it he played at Coastal Carolina and how much more that was at high school, but I do think he has experience at other positions up the middle. So, but I think you draft him to be this high floor catching prospect, great framer, amazing hit tool. Yeah, I'm going to take the easy one and say Aloy as well, just because he was the favorite of so many coming into this thing. He fills a fantastic void. Zach Root going to the Dodgers. I know
Your
a lot of
boy.
people will be mad about that. He fills a major hole in this system. He provides some real juice as far as infield prospects are concerned. As far as like his size and the power, I think it's kind of unmatched. And like I said, it's to be able to get him at pick 31 at a $3 million slot value compared to an Ava Arquette getting, double that, more than double that at the top of the first round. Prime example of here's the depth of the draft and where it shines. And the Orioles were able to kind of clean up. Getting Ike Irish to fall was amazing. But yeah, the question, maybe I'll say Aloy again there. I think of these four, is he the riskiest as well because of that hit tool? Like, are there scars there of the Van Honeycutt in last year's draft? Are they creeping into my thoughts already? But yeah, I mean, there are some concerns about the hit tool with Aloy, which scares me a little bit. But again, the size, the speed, the power, the defensive ability, I think are uber strong with him. Help makes up for that. But can Aloy be the answer for both?
I think he can.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And that's actually where I was heading, is that I do think that Aloy could be the best pick of this night based on the fact you're able to get him at 31 and that you've gotten someone who can stick at shortstop that projects to have good power for that position, but there are real concerns about the hit tool. Aside from that, Ike Irish, you could sit here and split hairs about what his value is going to be as a right fielder versus as a catcher. But I think that either way, you've got a big leaguer. And then with Slater DeBrun, just because of the age and whether or not the hit tool is going to show up right away, those are question marks. But I don't think they're necessarily big ones, especially with where the Orioles were able to get him at 37 overall. But I would agree that I think Aloy actually is probably the answer to both parts of this question, which is perhaps the best player in this group of prospects that were chosen, but at the same time, the one with the biggest question marks. And we'll actually tackle on a last call here onto the back end of the last call that I brought up, which is from Vivek. Do all four of these players go into the top 10? I have my answer, but I'm curious to see what you guys think.
No, but it's a good question because I think they're all very much in that range. For me, I think 3 out of the 4. I think Boddine a little bit lower, just because honestly, the Orioles system, I feel like, has had a come up since the start of the season. And there's been some breakouts between Esteban Mejia, Nate George, the pitchers Ferret, Gibson, Bragg, Herman. We already got Bradfield, Beavers, Basayo. None of these guys are going to graduate anytime soon. You got Judd Fabian there. So it's going to be tough, honestly, for all four to crack the top 10. But for me, I think DeBrun, Aloy, and Irish will, in most likelihood. I'm not locking that in by any stretch, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll go with that one as well. And I do want to say, here's from Brendan Mortensen. He got a quote from the Orioles scout who signed Ike Irish, was the man himself, David Jennings. If you're listening, shout out to David. Love the work that you've done in this organization. Truly, deeply. So Brendan's tweet says, Orioles scout Dave Jennings, who led the charge for Ike Irish and did the same for first rounders like Matt Wieters and Nick Markakis, when asked what the O's liked about Irish, quote, the bat. And it looks like he is going to play catcher and outfield, at least to start. So the bat, like you said, that's why you drafted that guy. And to get him to fall is just chef's kiss.
I know for myself that Irish and Aloy are definitely going to be my top 10. I think DeBrun, it's kind of borderline. So I would say that 2 of the 4 on my personal list are locks to be top 10, but I can't say the same for all 4 that have been picked tonight. So it's going to be close, though. I could easily see all 4 on my personal list being top 15 to top 16, maybe even a little bit higher, but probably not top 10.
That's fair. That's
Yeah.
completely fair. This is going to be an exciting top 50 update, guys. Who, if you're listening to this podcast after 2 hours live or on repeat in the future, get excited because I know I am. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was honestly, again, we need to sit and process all of this, and maybe we feel a little bit differently tomorrow night. We're coming back tomorrow night and recapping the rest of the picks here. Summerhill goes to the Rays. Screw you, Tampa Bay.
Oh man, that sucks.
But great pick.
Yeah, it is.
I feel pretty jazzed about these 4 picks. Like, they needed this type of energy and talent, and the farm system received a big bolt of energy tonight. And we're just 4 picks in. They've got what 17, 18 more to go.
Yeah, 3 more tonight alone, and then 17 more after that.
And the way these guys are falling, coming up here at pick 58 and 69, if you're looking for pitching, I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction before we hop off that at 58 and 69, I think if you want pitching, you're going to find yourself seeing the Orioles select a pretty good one here based on who's available.
Yeah, I do think one of the next 2 picks will be a pitcher, at least, if not both.
Yeah, well, let's see how that plays out, but we will be back tomorrow night. In the meantime, you can check us out on our many social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Blue Sky. We're also over at Substack at OriolesOnTheVerge.substack.com. Nick provided a lot of great coverage leading up to the draft this year, and I'm sure we will have more over there as the picks roll in over the next 2 days. You can also head over to Patreon and become a member of our community at the $3, $5, or $10 levels and have access to not only our monthly top 50 updates and bonus weekly coverage, but patron exclusive channels within our Discord. So there's a lot to sign up for over there at the $3, $5, or $10 levels. And our monthly update for the month of July just came out about a week ago. Now for the month of August, that's going to go out on the main feed, but we will come up with another perk for patrons between now and then to enjoy that a little bit more. For Bob Phil and Nick Stevens, this is Zach Spedden. You've been listening to Orioles on the Verge, part of the Believe Podcast Network.